Hey guys, I'm Mike, or Michael Stewart Robb, although nobody except for my mother ever calls me Michael, so Mike it is. And this is the first episode of the Penseés. I hope to be doing about 15 of those in 2020. Kind of thought that for the Sanctus Forum, we needed something a little bit different, a little bit quicker, shorter, and here I am. The first of these, you will notice that Daniel, my partner, is not here. You'll notice too that I'm not speaking German, which we did in the first series. If you were one of the 50 people that even ever saw the series we did in German, hopefully more will show up in time, you will now be delighted to hear that you can now hear my grammatical mistakes in another language. Video is not really my thing. I do want to apologize for my camera awkwardness, but still I think that this is a valuable format to talk with you all, with or without Daniel or anybody else in the room here. What I want to talk about is everyday spirituality, and about books and about other practices, things, ideas that are important for spirituality, for Europeans, I guess for everybody in the world, but I'm here in Europe. I do want to explain what I mean by spirituality before we get started, or at least just a little bit. I do mean Western as opposed to Eastern spirituality, or Judeo-Christian spirituality. You won't hear me using Christian a whole lot. I think the word has lost almost all of its meaning and probably means something completely different than what it maybe should mean. But I don't really have time to talk about that now. However, books. Books are important to Western spirituality. Not just that Western spiritual practitioners have books, but the idea that you're going to be reading them yourself. Now, one of the questions that I get asked by people who know that I read a lot is who to read. And eventually, the name comes out of my lips, Dallas Willard. Now, that's not going to be a surprise given the title of this video. If you've never heard of Dallas Willard, don't be worried. Lots of people haven't. Lots of people have and haven't read anything by him, which is understandable. He tends to be an author that you would hear about through another author who quoting them. Perhaps your pastor is quoting him, or perhaps a friend reads him. Although that probably is specific to English speakers. His books are translated into a number of European languages and a number of non-European languages, but you will rarely find, or at least I don't find a whole lot of people quoting him outside of the English world, which is a shame. When people find out that I'm an expert in Dallas Willard, I don't like that word. Let's say somebody who has studied a lot of Dallas Willard. The next question often is, well, where should I start first? Which book should I read? So the first thing we need to be clear on is which books are his. And here there are 5 that we really need to be concerned with. The first, I don't even have all of them here. I'm missing one. 1, 2, 3, 4. What am I missing? No, I have 6. I have 6 here. These 5. Now, which of these are we going to read? Well, Dallas's first book was one he wrote called In Search of Guidance, more commonly known as Hearing God. This is the most recent edition of it. My personal copy is the In Search of Guidance one. After that, he wrote In Search of Discipline. His biggest book, The Divine Conspiracy. then renovation of the heart, and finally, knowing Christ today. Which one? Well, I mean, that one looks rather big. That one looks big too. This one is his first one, but perhaps not the easiest one. The answer to that question is none of them. What I would recommend you do is not read any of these books. If I were you, and you had never encountered Dallas Willard before, I would find a good audio series, which he did, and listen to that. What a lot of people don't know about Dallas is he was primarily a speaker. He was the guy that your university, your organization, your church, if you have one, booked to come and speak. If he could fit it into his schedule, he would be there. The thing is, people would tape him. And they would tape him on, wait for it, one of these. This. Look at this. This is a Dallas Willard cassette. These things are the way in which Dallas Willard became who he was. And what would happen is a publisher would find a series of these, and they would say, we would like you to make that into that. And Dallas Willard, philosophy professor at USC, would try to find the time to do that, and when he did, that would be the result. Now, what that means is that if you really want to get to know who this man was and what he was about, you need to get this, which, fortunately, you can find digitalized versions of now on the internet. Now, which series would I recommend? Well, let me have a, hang on. Coffee's getting cold. Now, where was I? See, what Dallas did when he read a book is he distilled what he was teaching in a much more casual, much more audience-friendly way. He distilled it down into as few pages as he could. And what that meant is that a lot of those insights come across rather quick. And what happens when he's talking is he might give you a couple extra sentences to explain what he means, and that's what's really crucial. And what's also crucial is you hear a bit more of his heart. You hear a bit more of who this man was, and that was really the decisive thing. What he wanted to do was he wanted to produce a book that you could read again and again. Now, I will say, these are books that you can read again and again, and you will find things in them that you hadn't seen before. Now, you can look around for one of Dallas's audio series. You'll find them fairly easily if you do some searching on the internet. What I would, however, recommend is that you go over to a site called conversatio.org, and you go there and you look for a series called A Series on What Jesus Taught and Believed and Lived. Now, this series is one that he did in 1990 at a church called Hollywood Presbyterian, and he did one lecture a week over 8 weeks. Those who actually have been listening to Dallas before may know this series under the name of the Kingdom of God Teaching Series. This other title is the one that Dallas actually gave it himself. So what you do is you go over here to the search bar and you would click in a series on what Jesus, and then there it is, and then you click it here. Okay. I'll say the content for this is really, really good. This is Dallas in his best form. He goes through the kingdom of God, what that is, and then he works with Jesus' most well-known and probably best sermon, the Sermon on the Mount. And he just takes the whole thing with a great deal of seriousness and just brings to it wisdom and experience that are, at the moment, pretty unparalleled. Now, what I would recommend is that you find a way to listen to this in the background while you're doing something else. The lectures can be rather thick, and you will find yourself rewinding. But what I would do is listen to the first one and maybe listen to it twice, and then just sort of see what you've actually gotten out of it. And then when you're ready, go on to the next one, and then to the next one. I should, however, say that as a matter of disclosure, that I have been a consultant for Conversatio Divina, this website, and I am still involved to a degree in helping them find new content, find things to put on there. But they didn't ask me to do this video. In fact, I didn't even tell them that I was doing it. Hey guys. Now, you don't have to start with this series. It is an excellent series to start with, but there are others that you can find, maybe something with a topic that interests you more. Perhaps in other videos I'll talk about other series, and perhaps in later videos I'll talk about other books. But in the comments, it would be wonderful to hear what you recommend that people read in Western spirituality. And if you're familiar with Dallas Willard, I'd like to know, what audio series of his do you recommend that other people listen to if they're listening to something for the very first time? Now, that's what I've got for today. This channel is still in its infancy, little baby channel. So if you like this video, show your love, actually physically like it, subscribe, come on back, check out more videos. Hopefully we can get those full 15 in 2020. Who knows? Maybe more. Maybe I'll actually enjoy doing video at some point. Thanks again to Patreon patrons. We have a Patreon site set up for the Sanctus Forum. We have great plans ahead for more series. Daniel's going to show up again, hopefully some other people, more of these little tiny miniature vlogs. Think of sponsoring us for this year so that we can continue to do these sorts of things. Very appreciative, and thank you all for listening, and I'll see you next time.
Chance to find a heartbeat and keep on dancing, and finally I'm seeing that today is my happiest day.